and today I'm going to be showing you how to build this Spanish style inspired house. But quickly before we get into the tutorial, will you please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below what else I should build. So to start, I have it all marked out with terracotta, and I'm going to start with the measurements. These measurements are only for the orange box, the green and yellow will be done later. So starting at the top and going down clockwise, it's 9, then up 1, 22, then down 30, then 29 along the front, then 14 up, 2 little notches, and then 20 up, back to connect to the start. Once you have that, we're filling in the entire orange square with sandstone, making sure not to place it on these little red bits of terracotta because we're going to place the stairs there later. After building that, we have our foundation of our house. We're going to start by outlining the front yard. Starting at that gap where we left the red terracotta, we're outlining the front side and then we're going 10 back and then we're going straight across to the other side and continuing that side and the front. Then I'm going to place 2 more smooth sandstone right next to that entrance there. Once you have that, I'm just going to place 1 here right behind that 10 we just placed and then 2, 1, 2, and then 3 to connect up to this yellow building that we'll build last. Now that we have that, we're going to add mud brick stairs to the red terracotta and the next step up on the smooth sandstone. Then we're going to connect our 2 little pathways and the front door of the house. I'm starting with placing 3, then 2, 2, 2, then 3, 3 again, then just 2, another 3, and then 2 more. And then I'm placing a little 3x5 section here, which is going to be our front door. Then I'm placing 3 more sections of 3, and then another 3, and then it should be right about to connect, and just 2 more, 1, and we should connect up to our other stairs. And again, this is supposed to look really natural, so you can really do whatever pattern you want. Then I'm just filling this all in with grass to make our front yard, obviously. I'm also filling in this other little section we made because that's going to be a little garden. We're going to do mud brick stairs on our last section of red terracotta and then up another one just like we did on the other side. And then we're going to place 4 mud bricks back and then we're going to place 22. And that should be just past this little notch there. So it'll be 3x22, a little pathway. Then once you have all that, all of the smooth sandstone that's left, we're basically just going to bump it all up 1. We're going to place some mud bricks here for our entryway, and we're going to start with the front wall. So I'm placing 3 smooth sandstone blocks and then 5 smooth sandstone blocks back. So it'll be 3x5. Then I'm just quickly reshaping these so they're not perfect blocks. We're just going to take a little section out of the side. I actually made a mistake while I was recording me building this. So I've made this little grid map of what this front face should look like to make it easier for you. Then I'm just quickly making this all a lot thicker so I have something to build off of. So once I have that kind of all finished up, I'm starting with the right side. I'm starting 1 block in from the edge and I'm moving 3 in, and then I'm going to connect it to this wall on the 5th block up and make it all connect like this. Then I'm going 2 more blocks back and connecting that to the floor and all the way up, equal with our other section of roof over there. Then I'm just making this little 3x4 section, building this wall up 1 more, and this is going to be like a little garden area. So this will be a wall that goes all the way up, but we'll do that later, and it should look like this. Just super simple, just a bunch of sandstone. So I'm filling this in, then I'm just filling in this floor, and here's where I realized I accidentally made this 1 block tall. So I'm just breaking the floor a little bit and moving these cutouts down 1 and making this window a little bit shorter. Once you have all that, it should actually look like this. And then moving back onto this side, we're finishing up the flooring, and then we're adding some walls to the back here. So we're going to leave a gap of 2 so that we can make 2 doorways and a window above each one of those. So I'm placing upside down stairs to make a little arched doorway in both of those gaps, and upside down stairs to make a little arched window in each of the remaining gaps at the top. And here's what we have now. Then I'm just using some chains and trapdoors and mud bricks to make this little like patio railing and some pillars. Those go up 4 blocks tall. Then I'm just placing some chains and jungle trapdoors on top of that. Then on top of those mud bricks, I'm just placing some normal bricks, which is going to be our roof. I'm not going to do too much of the roof right now. I'm just going to mark it out. So I'm just using blocks and slabs and going up, and it should look like this. Once I have that, I'm just putting the roof on that original section we have so we can line it all up, and it's super easy, just slabs and blocks. And this is what it should look like. Then to finish up this side on the bottom here, using some polished deep slate walls and stained glass to make these giant windows. And I'm filling in this garden with some grass, and I'm putting some chains and jungle trapdoors on our window in the middle. And then once I have that, I'm moving on to the left side and doing the exact same thing I just did. Everything's the same. And once everything's done, it should look like this. I'm gonna keep going with this left side, and we're adding a circle room. So off of this garden, that's 3, and we have 2, 2. Then we're gonna bump out 1. See here, it's gonna go on this yellow blocks, and it's gonna be 3. Then we're gonna bump back in. So I'm building up this one wall, this one side, and then I'm completing the circle closer to the top so that I can make sure to properly get the roof all lined up. So once I have that, I'm just breaking the circle at the bottom, except for where it's exposed to the outside, and making sure it's 1 block taller than our brick roof we have right now. Then on the outside of this brick wall in this corner, well, I mean this diagonal bit, there's not really a corner for a circle room. I'm adding a little deck and window using some stairs and chains and trapdoors in front of that. Once I have that, I'm placing bricks on top of all of the sandstone in the circle just so I can finish the roof. And I'm placing 1 more along the edge. So it should have a 1 block gap all the way around the build. Then I'm putting slabs on top of that all the way around. And then I'm just doing the same thing, moving up, alternating between a slab and a block. So it gets slightly taller each time. Then once I have that, I'm just adding some polished deep slate slabs around the bottom of the roof, and it should end up like this. Once I have that, I'm moving on to this little chimney and extending that garden a bit more. So the chimney is just 3 by 3. And for right now, I'm not really counting. I'm just making sure it's taller than our roof, because at the end it will be, I think it's 1 block taller than our roof. So we don't really have to measure it that much. It doesn't really matter too much. So I'm just making sure to build it up and leave it kind of taller than our build we have right now. And then if needed towards the end, I'll build on it more. So once I have that, I'm continuing back off this chimney to make a wall. So starting in the center block, which is 1 block from the edge, I'm placing a smooth sandstone block, leaving a gap of 2, placing another smooth sandstone block, leaving a gap of 2, and placing another one. So I have 3. Then I'm moving back 3 blocks, moving over 1 and placing 3 more blocks, and then connecting it up to where our mud brick path is. Then I'm just connecting it and making it a little garden and adding some grass to the top one and the bottom. Once I have that, I'm building this wall up 4 blocks tall, and then leaving these 3 by 2 gaps, putting some stairs to make them doors, and then going up another 4 blocks. But instead of doing a center one in this one, I'm making this window extra wide. So it should look like this. Then I'm just continuing with this next building. So I'm building 4 blocks taller than what I've already built here, just right next to it, so I can have a guide for where my roof should go. And I'm placing 2 slabs of the top half of the top block. Then I'm just placing another slab on top of the closest one to the sandstone, and then I'm placing a block on top of the sandstone. Then I'm placing another slab on top of that. Once I have that, then I'm finishing off this roof with 1 more brick block and a slab on top of that. Then I'm continuing this wall all the way behind this, connecting it up to the chimney. This should be 1.5 blocks taller than the roof. And we're just adding a slab, and we'll leave that for right now. Then next to this garden, we're just building up this wall a bit. We're adding 1 layer down, then we're just adding another 3 by 2, putting a little window there, and continuing to build up 1 more layer, and then we're adding another 3 by 2 with another window. Then I'm just extending this out to make sure everything lines up, connecting this roof up to it, and building that up a little bit. Then I'm moving back to the front roof to make sure everything lines up, and so I'm trying to connect it. I don't end up liking the way it connects, so what I do instead is I start building this front roof and think it's fine if it doesn't connect, but I end up changing that back roof just a little bit. But I do this front bit and it all stays the exact same, and then once I get here, I just decide that I don't like it as much, so I just end up breaking that and building this section up 1 block taller. And it's not really a big change, it was just kind of an on-the-fly thing, and it did not take that much time. But once I make sure everything connects up, I start filling in this little, like, I don't know what you would call it. I start filling in this next wall, and it goes all the way across the front. It's gonna be like 1 giant rectangle at the top of the whole house. And we're stopping right when we get to 4 blocks from the center of the circle building. Then I'm just adding some windows in it to make it look cute, and connecting this roof up. And like, this roof, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just kind of winging it, if I'll be totally honest. Like, just whatever I think looks best at the time. It's very flexible. Once I have that connected all up, I'm moving on to the back, and the back is super simple. We're just reusing all of these principles we already learned. So I'm starting by placing mud brick pillars 3 blocks tall, 1 block in from the corner of our mud brick path, and then continuing on to the end of our mud brick path. Then I'm placing some sandstone next to it and 1 on top of each of the pillars. Then I'm placing some smooth stone stairs next to each of those to make these little arches. Then I'm placing another row of sandstone across the top of all of it, and making sure to make this little entrance over here an arch too. And from here, it's super simple. Brick we're just doing the same roof we've done for all the other ones. I'm starting with a brick block on top of all of this sandstone and then building out this room a bit so I have somewhere to build my roof. I'm building out this next room over here, so I'm going up 7 blocks tall and I'm sectioning it out to have a section of 3x2s and a section of 2x2s. Then we're gonna round those out with stairs, and the reason these don't have a top on them is because the top is the stairs. And this is how that wall turned out, and then we're just gonna place another smooth sandstone row on top of that, and we can move back to our roof that we were doing before. So with a little bit of overlap, I'm just placing a slab on this brick block, and then we're doing the same pattern that we did before with the slab going up, and then brick, and then slab, and then brick, and then slab all the way up. And then once you then I'm just adding one more slab to the outside, then I'm just adding one more slab to the entire roof. I know it may be a bit confusing the way I chose to build this, but it was just what was easiest for me at the time. Once the top of your roof is 2 blocks away from that other sandstone wall we built, I'm just gonna fill it in with another like room. I'm gonna make that 3 blocks tall, leaving a gap of 3, 1 smooth sandstone block, and 2 more gaps of 3s. So it should go sandstone block, gap of 3, sandstone block, gap of 3, sandstone block, and that will be the end of your room. Then that's going 4 blocks tall, and I'm adding smooth stairs to the 2 outside ones. We're going 1 more higher, we're going up 1 more block in the center, and then adding smooth stone stairs to that. So it looks like these little arches. And it should end up like this. Once I have that, I'm just finishing up the edges of this room, and connecting it all up, and connecting it back to this other back wall we have that I'm actually going to build out a little bit. Then I'm building up this gable a little bit with sandstone, and then I'm just adding the roof with blocks and slabs. The exact same way I did for the front and basically every other roof of this house. And then once I build that up, I'm going to leave it like this for a second because I'm going to finish off these bricks across the top of this final sandstone bit. And this is where we are right now before we move back to the last little room here of this main building. So I'm just continuing the sandstone all the way back. I'm going up and connecting it to the circle room. And the reason I'm connecting it from the top instead of from the bottom is because this yellow room is going to be like a little garage and it's going to connect. So this wall won't really be exposed to the outside. So I'm only going to build it from the top down a little bit. And that should be fine. Then I'm just adding some polished deep slate blocks around the outside and connecting it to the main room we have. Then I'm just adding the roof back here to connect everything up, and adding the roof on this house, which is just slab, full block, all the way up like we've done every other roof on this house. Just alternating slabs and blocks. Then once I have that, I'm moving on to the roof on top, and how I'm doing that is right next to these bricks we just placed, we're placing some polished deep slate all the way around the outside, and then a slab on top of that, and then you'll never guess where we're going. We're placing a block, and then a slab, and then a block all the way up till it meets. And this is how it should turn out. Then I'm gonna finish this chimney. I'm just adding 1 more layer just to the corners, and then 1 ring around the top. And you'll see why we have those gaps here in just a second. There we go. Now basically the whole outside of the main house is done. We just need to do this final little inside wall, and then we can move on to the garage. I'm starting right on the outside of our mud brick path, and I'm just going all the way up to the ceiling, connecting it up. And then here, I'm just adding a little roof, and I'm deciding to replace this inside here with just smooth sandstone. So I'm breaking these slabs I placed earlier and replacing it all with smooth sandstone. Once I've finished that ceiling, I'm just adding some more arches. And these are really flexible. You can kind of do it any way you want. What I end up doing is I add 1 more block to the edge, then I do a 3 block gap, and then 3 sandstone blocks, and then a 3 block gap, and then 3 sandstone blocks, and then 1 more edge. And then I add my stairs to make it arch, and then it's all good. I'm just adding the chains and junglewood trapdoors to every window, and I'm adding some junglewood fences to look like little supports holding our roof up. And I'm also adding chiseled sandstone blocks in all of those little 1x1 gaps we left. And once we have that, the main building's done, and we're just gonna move on to the garage, which is super simple. It's just 2 blocks of mud bricks all the way around the yellow, leaving a little gap in the front. Then I'm just putting sandstone blocks on top of that, taking that up 3 blocks tall, going across over our gap, going up 1 more, and making these into some little windows. Then we're doing the same thing on this other side. And the windows are super flexible. You can really just do whatever you want. Once I have that, I'm just adding the roof, and it's the same roof we did with the slabs and blocks all the way up. It's all finished. I'm starting this last side. I'm just building down this sandstone, putting a little chiseled sandstone in the center, just like we did for the others. Then we're just doing 2 windows by adding sandstone on the edges and 1 sandstone bar down the center, and then smooth sandstone stairs to make arches. Then we're just adding the chains and jungle trapdoors. Then once you have all that, all that's left to do to finish off this little building is add some polished deep slate walls to be like a little garage door. I know there's not like garage doors in Minecraft or garages in Minecraft, but I just needed to add it because it looks so cute. And on the lime terracotta we have, I'm just putting some sandstone slabs to make these little gardens out in front. And I'm adding a little driveway. And I'm just making this super like flowy and curvy. Then I'm just adding some final finishing touches like this fence, which is going to be 2 chains tall, and then in all of the corners, polished deep slate around the top. And then I'm putting some plants all in the yard, then I'm putting plants in the yard, making this little pond, just little details. And out back, I'm using some decorated pots just to fill this space a little bit. I'm also using some of the new decorated pots to add some detail to the backyard and front yard, and I really love how it turned out. I absolutely love decorated pots. They're probably one of my favorite blocks right now. Adding all those final finishing touches, adding some pots out front, putting glass in all the windows, and then finishing off the chimney. And it's done! Thank you guys so much for watching. I really had so much fun building this, and getting to explore all the decorated pots was so much fun. Please let me know what you think about this in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.